Let's start out in a frog position. Outer hips, as you said, Brad. All right, guys, so yeah, getting the knees as wide as we can, keep the feet in line with the knees, and then shift the hips back towards the heels. Cool. And then if you're comfortable, you can go down onto the forearms. So guys, the cool thing about the neck cars is you can do them in so many different positions. So whilst you're doing your passive stretches, you may as well throw in some neck cars. So that's what we're going to do. So we'll do 3 each direction. So let's tuck the chin. Reach your chin towards your armpit. Look over the shoulder. Drop the ear to the back pocket. Start to look up. Drop the ear to the other back pocket. Look over the other shoulder. Chin to armpit, back through the middle. 2 more this direction. Make sure we're still feeling a good stretch in the groin as well. All right, guys, 3 the other way on the neck. Slow and controlled. Trying to carve out as much range of motion in the neck as we can. Okay guys, you can stop with the neck, and we're going to do our pails and rails now for our hips. So for our pails, we're going to be squeezing our knees into the floor, and then our rails, we're squeezing our outer hip muscles, trying to spread our knees wider. Alright guys, so 20% effort, just engage the groin, the muscles that are stretching. 40% effort. As long as there's no pain, keep ramping it up. 80%. 3, 2, 1. Now squeeze the outer hip muscles as if you could open your legs even wider. 3, 2, 1, and back to passive. "30 more seconds here, guys. All right, come on out of the frog. And just come to your hands and knees. And we're going to work on our scapulas now. So we're going to do lots of different positions for the scapula, just to give you guys lots of ideas. All right, so first one we'll do is just from hands and knees. So first thing I want you to do is just spread your shoulder blades apart and then squeeze them together. So we're not doing the cars yet, we're just practicing protracting and retracting. All right, guys, come to like in between the two, and now we're gonna shrug up to our ears and then shrug away. So practicing our elevation and depression. All right, guys, let's put that together into a rotation. So let's protract the shoulder blades, so spread them apart. Now shrug up to the ears. Now retract them and then shrug away from the ears. Turn that into a circular movement. 2 more reps this way. All right, guys, now 3 reps the other way. Make sure we're not bending the elbows to compensate, because we want to focus on just the scapula. All right, guys, so to progress that, make it more difficult, what you can do is actually go into a plank and perform your cars from there. That would be more of like a level 3 cars. It wouldn't really be for your daily routine. Okay, now we're gonna come into saddle. So grab any props you need. You might need a towel or ab mat under the ankles or something to sit on. And we're gonna do more scapula cars. So this time we're gonna have our hands behind our back, like this. So let's just do 3 reps. Spread the shoulders apart, squeeze them back. You probably won't have quite as much range of motion in this position. And then 3 reps, elevate and depress. And let's do the rotations now. As big as you can. So here we're working on our scapula with our shoulders internally rotated and extended somewhat. Okay, and other direction. Can't remember if we've already done this direction. Cool, guys. And we're just going to spend another 30 seconds here in the saddle. If you want to, you can lie back. Or if you feel already a good stretch in the quads, just stay here. All right, guys, come out of saddle. And I want you to just assume a comfortable sitting position. So whether you want to do the seated cross shins, or you can just sit with your legs out in front, or you could do a tall kneel. Yeah, we're just gonna find some seated position. And we're now gonna do the elbow cars. So normally we do our elbow cars with our arms by our side, but now we're going to work them with our arms out in front. All right, so I want you to supinate the elbows, so turn your palms to the ceiling. And now we're going to flex the elbow, squeeze as much as you can. Now pronate, so turn your palms to the ceiling. This is sort of mimicking your front rack. And then we're going to extend the elbow. Good. Now supinate again. Carve out as much rotation as you can, and then flex. Good. Pronate and extend. One more this way. So yeah, guys, with these cars, get creative with it. All right, let's go the other direction. So keep the palms down, flex, 3 this way. So yeah, you can play around with your cars, try different positions, see what you like, what you don't like, see where you're maybe weaker, and pick positions that maybe challenge you a bit more. Or positions that maybe mimic what you want to do with your body. Cool, all right, now we're gonna move on to the wrists. If you are in the seated cross shin, let's just switch the cross of the shins. Cool. And so we normally do our wrist cars with our palms flat. That's going to help us with our wrist extensions for things like push-ups and burpees and anything with our hands on the floor. But today let's just do it with our hands closed. So these will actually be a little easier, but you can get a bit more range of motion. So just rest your arms on your knees. Now point your knuckles to the floor and then sweep them in to point to each other. And now reach up with the thumb and now point your knuckles out to the side. Let's go for, these ones are a bit quicker, so we'll do 5 each way. And remember, try to keep these 2 bones stacked over each other so that we're just moving the wrist. If we're rotating the elbow, then we're not just focusing on the wrist. So pay attention to that. Okay, once you've done 5 one way, we'll go 5 back the other way. Cool. Okay, now we're going to go to our shoulder cars. And we're going to do an easier version and a harder version. So we'll start with the easier. If you have a cushion or a yoga block, just to rest your head on, you can grab that. Otherwise, just rest your head on your arm. And we're going to lie down on our side. So this version of our shoulder cars, it requires less effort, but you get a little bit more range of motion from it. Some of you may have done it before. All right, so I want you guys to externally rotate the shoulder of the top arm. And actually with the bottom leg, put that knee on the floor and just put your hand on top. That's gonna help to block the spine from moving. All right, so now we're gonna sweep across the body. Reach up into shoulder flexion, max that out, and then we're going to internally rotate. Good, turn that upper arm bone as much as possible, reach back behind, keep rotating until we're in extension, and then finish with the hand by the hip again. Keep that internal rotation. We're going to extend, so reach straight back, max that out, and then externally rotate. Turn that upper arm bone. Keep fighting for more rotation. Sweep back past the ear, back across the body, and back to the start position. All right, guys, just because there's a lot to get through, we're going to switch to the other side. So yeah, get this top knee on the floor, bottom arm on top of the knee. And then with that top arm, we're going to externally rotate, sweep across the body. Slide along the floor as far as you can, then come up into shoulder flexion, max that out, internally rotate, turn that upper arm bone, reach back behind you, keep that internal rotation, finish with the hand by the side, now reach straight back, externally rotate. Keep rotating, keep reaching back. And sweep back across the body. Cool, so that's the easy version because gravity's kind of helping you. Now we're gonna go for the hard version. So you're gonna flip over onto your stomach. And this isn't going to be a full shoulder car because we kind of missed the abduction part. But yeah, it's definitely more of a challenge for the harder part of the shoulder car for most people. All right, so lie down, face down, one arm above your head. Externally rotate, so try to turn your palm to the ceiling. Now without lifting the head or the chest, lift that arm off the ground. Now we're going to internally rotate as much as possible. Start to sweep back. Keep your hand as high as you can. Don't bend the elbow. Keep reaching up, keep reaching up. Keep rotating until you're in this position. And then you can drop your arm down by your hip. Okay, keep the arm straight, internally rotated. Reach straight up as high as you can. And then externally rotate. Keep the arm as high as possible. Sweep up. Keep rotating. Keep your arm in the air until your arm is by your head. And gently place it on the floor. So yeah, guys, that's definitely a more challenging version of the cars if you want to build more strength and control. All right, let's switch arms. Also, let me know if you have any pain with these because you definitely don't want to push through that. Okay, so straighten that out, elbow, externally rotate. Lift the arm in the air. Start to internally rotate. Just max that out. Keep that hand as high as you can. Reach up as high as you can. Come into shoulder extension. And then hand by your side. Now reach up. Keep the internal rotation as high as possible. Externally rotate. Turn that bicep to the ceiling. Keep the hand as high as you can. Sweep up by the head and gently place the arm down. Nice work, guys, nice work. Okay, we're going to move back to our spine cars now. And we're going to do these in the saddle position once again. This time I want you to move your knees a bit wider, so this is going to give you a little bit more balance. So yeah, and take any props you need for saddle, or you can do a tall kneel as well. Okay, and we're going to cross our arms across the, actually, we're going to give ourselves a bear hug. Yeah, like this. So this is going to block the scapula from moving as much. All right, guys, from here, let's flex the spine as much as possible. Then we're going to rotate to one side as far as we can. Once we've maxed that out, we're going to side bend. And we're going to start to extend our spine. And then we're going to start to lean to the other side, arching our back as much as we can. Lean over, and rotate. And we're back through the middle. One more rep in this direction. And drop the shoulder, laterally flex, and extend. Lean, and rotate. And back to the start. All right, to the other way, guys. Try to make these reps as smooth as we can. It's all about strength and control. So this position, it limits your hips from moving as much. So it helps you work more, focus more on the spine than if you were standing up. And then giving ourselves this bear hug also helps block the scapula. And we're also stretching our quads at the same time. Nice work. Okay, so that's our upper body done. Let's move on to the lower body. And the one that I'm sure you guys maybe don't do so often. Let's start with the feet. So yeah, we'll sit down for the toe ones. Just move back a bit. All right, guys, so first one, you're just gonna try to lift the big toe. Keep the little toes on the floor. And we're gonna go for 5 reps. If you can't do that, just hold your other toes down with your fingers. Next one, guys, keep that big toe planted. Lift the little toes as high as you can. Again, if that's not possible, just use the hands for a bit of help. And if you practice it enough, you'll get the hang of it. Okay, guys, lift all the toes up. This time we're just gonna tap the floor with our big toe. 5 reps. Again, use those fingers if you have to. And keep the big toe in the air, touch the little toes down. All right, guys, toes down, and we're just gonna squeeze them together. So, like this. A little bit of a tactile cue you can use is squeeze your finger with your in between your big toe and your second toe. That gives you kind of something to teach you what muscles to squeeze. And next one, guys, my favorite one. You're gonna lift all the toes up and put them back down, starting with the pinky toe, and you're gonna try to spread them as far apart as you can. Lift back up, reach out with the pinky toe, try to go one toe at a time, and spread those toes as wide as you can. Last one. So guys, our feet and our ankles and our calves, Achilles, knees, everything, they're all natural shock absorbers. And when we wear shoes all the time with cushioning, all those muscles in the feet get super weak and it can lead to problems. So you definitely want to try to strengthen those feet and try and go barefoot around the house if you can, or even on the beach and stuff like that. All right, last one, guys, just balance on the heels, and we're just gonna curl our toes under as if we're grabbing something with our feet. 5 reps. So yeah, if you do running, squatting, then building a more stable foot and a stronger foot is going to help prevent injury. All right, guys, moving up to the ankles. So we normally do our ankles from a standing position, but we're going to lie on our backs today. And I want you to actually put your hands on your shin. And I want you to see if your knee is trying to rotate while you're doing your ankle cars. And if you notice that, try to stop it. So try to prevent your knee from moving so that we're just moving the ankle. Okay, let's start by pointing the foot. And we're going to sweep to the inside. And we're going to flex the foot as much as we can and reach to the outside. As big circles as we can with those ankles. Try to make it as smooth as possible. And other direction, guys. For 3. So yeah, when our knee is straight, it can't rotate. So this is a good option to disassociate your ankle from your knee. Cool, guys. Once you've done 3 each way, switch legs. And we'll do another 3 each way on this ankle. So we want all our joints to be able to work well independently and do their jobs, and then they're going to work well together as a result. If some of our joints aren't moving well and can't do what they're supposed to do, other joints end up having to compensate. So that's why we want to practice our joints independently before working them together. All right, guys, let's do our kneecaps, our patella. So for this one, you have to have your legs relaxed and just move that kneecap in a circle. We'll do maybe 5 each direction, and you can spend a bit more time on any of the corners that are tight. So yeah, nothing really new to show you guys on this one. You can do these standing up, but just have to make sure your quad is relaxed. Otherwise, your kneecap won't move. All right, guys, switch sides. All right, another often neglected cars, the knee cars. So if you're struggling with the knee cars, I would say continue to work it from this seated position. And yeah, practice rotating that knee. If you're starting to get good at it, you can actually do them standing up, or you could do them in like a lunge position. So for example, you can be in like this sort of position, and then from here we're gonna, let's say, externally rotate the knee, flex, and then internally rotate and extend. So this is like a more challenging option. You might feel your hamstrings working a lot harder. But if you don't even have much control over your knee rotation yet, I would just stick to the seated position. All right, and let's do 3 the other way. All right, and let's switch sides. So yeah, in this position, our hip is in more extension. So it's harder for us to flex the knee. So we'll go for 3 rotations each way. And with the knees, guys, we're trying not to compensate with the ankle. So we're trying to keep our foot in the same position. 3 the other way. Good stuff, guys. And last joint for our cars is our hips. So we have our standing hip cars, we have our side-lying hip cars, and I'm going to show you our quadruped hip cars. So you're going to be on the hands and knees, and you're just going to shift your weight slightly to one side just so that the other knee lifts off the floor. Now from here, we're going to bring our knee up towards our chest as much as we can. Now we're going to lean out to the side. Or sorry, not lean. We're going to lift our knee out to the side. And we're going to try to internally rotate and then extend our hip as much as we can. And back down. So a couple things to note on this, guys. When we're lifting out, try not to bend your elbow on the opposite arm and lean over. So yeah, we want to be working our hip. So keep this other arm straight. Also, guys, try not to extend the spine too much when we're going into our hip extension. Because again, we're trying to keep our core neutral and just work the hip. So let's do one more on this side. So bring the knee up into flexion and abduction out to the side and internal rotation. Good. And extension. Good. And we're going to extend. Try to keep the spine neutral. And lift out to the side. Keep that knee high. Reach for your armpit. And back across and down. Good work, guys. This is a tough variation. Okay, we'll do the other side. I'm just going to face this way for a different viewpoint. All right, bring that knee up towards the chest. Lift out to the side as high as you can. Internally rotate and extend. Keep those arms straight. And bring the knee back down. Now extend, kick back, out to the side. Keep that knee high, reach for the armpit. Back across the chest and down. One more rep. Lift up, out to the side. Internally rotate and extend. Trying not to extend the spine. And last half a rep. So we're really learning to control our hip through its full range of motion that we currently have. All right, and yeah, last but not least, cars is the fingers. So while we're doing the fingers, let's get into a Sphinx pose. So we get a little bit of a back bend as well. Cool. I'll just move back so you can see. Yeah, so you can see my hands. All right, guys, spread the fingers apart, down on the elbows. All right, we're just gonna lift the thumb and do 3 circles as big as we can, each way. So yeah, people who do a lot of typing may experience pain in the hands. All right, move on to your index finger, 3 each way. So yeah, these cars can help with that. Okay, middle finger, a little bit more difficult. And ring finger. So guys, our joint capsules, so basically where the 2 bones meet each other, don't get any blood flow. They only get nutrients through diffusion. So basically fluids flushing in and out. And move on to the pinky. And the only way to push fluids through is through movement. So that's why, another reason why cars are great. All right, guys, flip the hands over and spread out your fingers as wide as you can, and then curl your fingers until you make a fist, thumb on the outside, tight fist, and then spread the fingers and roll them back out again and spread them as far as you can. Cool. 2 more reps. Okay, and to finish, guys, let's just, I know Stefan likes working on his thoracic spine, and you guys both said shoulders, so let's do both at the same time. We actually also did this one, I think, on Sunday. So you're just going to need a chair or a sofa or a bench or something, and also your PVC. Actually, let me set up this way. Yeah, PVC or broomstick would also be helpful. And so this one is also great for the front rack. So I know you're working on that, Robbie. All right, guys, so let's grab our PVC, shoulder width apart, palms facing up. And we're gonna get our elbows onto our bench or our chair, whichever we have. And we're just gonna sink our chest and our head towards the ground. So guys, the more you sort of like sink your chest down, that's going to start to extend the upper back. Whereas if you keep your back more rounded, that's going to focus more on the shoulders. So you can do both at the same time, or you can focus more on one or the other. And we're also externally rotating our shoulders at the same time by grabbing onto the PVC. So for pails, guys, we're going to be driving our elbows into the bench. And for rails, we're going to be trying to lift our elbows off the bench. Just engage the muscles that would perform those movements. All right, so start to engage our lats. Push down onto the bench as long as there's no pain. 40% effort. 60%. As long as there's no pain. 80%. 3, 2, 1. And now try to reach up. Squeeze all that stuff behind the shoulders if you can. Try to feel some engagement. And back to passive. All right, guys, gently come out of that one. And just lie down on your back. Take 3 deep breaths. Fill your belly and your chest with as much air as you can. And exhale. Empty your lungs. 2 more. And now just breathe naturally. So I hope through tonight's session and throughout the course so far, you've learned some different tools and ideas on how to improve your mobility. So I encourage you guys to get creative. It's all about finding what your body needs and finding what works for you. So we need to figure out what ranges of motion do we need to do the activities that we want to do safely. Then we need to figure out whether we can access those ranges of motion passively. If we can, that's great. Then we need to add strength and control. If we can't, then we need to stretch and do pails and rails. until we have that passive range, and then we can add the strength and control afterwards. And then once we have the range of motion and the mobility that we need, then we want to maintain that and strengthen that. And we're all different. Even from one side to the other, we're different. No one's perfectly symmetrical, and that's definitely normal and to be expected. And we're never going to be symmetrical no matter how much we work on it, but we can start to close the gap between the different sides of our bodies and the different joints in our bodies to a point where they're close enough that we're not going to compensate and potentially get injured. All right, guys, well done tonight, and I will see you in our next session.